Good morning everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'm Nat, this is my Knackers Yard, and this is Tango. And today is Tango's Swingarm day. Now, the previous upload right at the end you saw my centre stand arrive. I've literally scrubbed that down, chucked some cure rust on it. And then chuck some Hammerite black spray paint on there, smooth black. Doesn't need to look great, just needed to look better. I didn't really want to put something overly rusty on a bike. So yeah, that's better. It's not particularly high centre stand, it has to be said. It's really easy to push on and off, but unfortunately it's really easy to push on and off. So I've put it under I put a small block of wood under it just to give a bit more stability. The rear wheel isn't off the ground, but it's close. Now what I'm going to do is just rattle through getting this off. Well, I just lost. There it is. 10mm socket on a hider. Right, so let's go on with this shit, shall we? So first things first, you got your chain adjusters. Obviously go on a loop around the main piece. A lot of this is going to be cleaning today, regrettably. Not the most fun thing to watch. Indeed do. But so obviously I don't have a chain on this, but that's, you know, pulling the tension back on the wheel for the chain tension out. Although, like I say, I don't have the chain on it at the moment. Now, this is all just tagged on, so when you're doing this for the first time, be slightly concerned if your bolts are quite so easy to undo. Right, I try and keep my pieces in a position where I can quite easily refer back to what order they came back on and off on. On, in. Just need my encourager. I'm just going to poke that through. I use an old stem just to knock it through. Now, if you've got, you know, the wheel on the ground, but this should be quite easy. If you've got it hanging, i.e. the whole bike up, then this is supporting the weight of the wheel, so it is easier if you just get it about right. Now that should be greased, but it really isn't. It's really quite dry. So I'll sort that out. And again, bolts on. Bolt on the right hand side now, remember that. Right, now watch out for spacers or anything that drop out, and make sure you get them back in the way they came out. And remember the way they did that, because you will need that later. Blue, can you look after that for me, mate? Thank you. Right. So, span that, remember that on the outside. Just needs a good clean up and a re-grease. A bit dry and crappy. At least they were both on the same way. So span on the outside. I think I will take all this off now. Just while I have the counterbalance of the wheel to play with. So a little R-clip through there, That red thread has been bothering me for the ages. Finally get rid of it. Nice. 10mm. It's not. Give me a little tinker. It's a 13 for some obscure reason, not a 12 like everything else is. I am being a little bit cautious while I'm doing this because I'm levering against the centre stand. And depending on where the centre of gravity of the bike is, you might not have to lean back on it that hard before it comes up to meet you. Right. Again, not too bad. Just needs a good clean. I don't think I'm going to paint that. I think I'm just going to clean it up. This is fairly rusty actually. So vertical at the top end, that's fairly nasty and is going to need some work. Yeah, looks like it bears a fair amount of wear as well, so that's going to need to be some good thick paint. Right. Not quite sure what you can see, not a lot past there. Right, so before I mess around too much getting the actual swing arm, now obviously it's pinned through with the shock, so I'm going to have to get that off. Right. Let me get my proper socket set. Right, and there we go, there's a full, I think it's a shock linkage, I can never remember what it's called. Whoop, there we go. Just checking the bearings, they seem fine, they're just a bit grotty and need a clean. Clean out more than anything else, and a bit of a re-grease, but actually they're fine. I'm thinking I'm just going to take them out, give them a clean. I'll leave it together at the moment because I don't want to lose bits unless I really have to. Right, so now the shock, I've got it balanced up here because I just need to take the weight off it for a second. Now the shock is just held on by that main central bolt in the middle. Whip out the trusty knife, take the covers off. It's unusual to find those still on actually, they tend to be, I think it's the first phaser that I've had with them on. Just want to check what size bolt that is. That's quite a big boy. Try 22. Boom, straight on. There's my extension bar. I don't like having quite so many tools out because I can never spot the one that I want. There we go. I always try to put my sockets back once I finish with them as well. Again, this will be nice and loose because I've done it myself. And when I put it back together, I knew that I was taking it apart. No, it's out. I was thinking that was taking its time. So, apologies, just turn you off there. It is the big bugger in the middle there. So again, don't lose the washer that's behind that nut. See, it's starting to poke out. I don't just want this swing arm to drop to the floor. And you can see it's hexed into the actual piece. That's the swing arm free, just tucked behind the shock. Ugh. Right. Try and be a little bit gentle with it, shall we? Let's have a look. Right, so the important bit, the bearings are fine. I did check these out before, but it is just mucky. Let's just whip the chainstay off. You can stay staring at that. It's quite a small one. Not that small, that. Oof, nasty. Yeah, proper nasty. Right. The guards on the bearing cups, I suppose, have done their business because they've kept it nice and clean. But that is going to need a clean and a re-grease, as are these. Actually, you know, the bulk and the body is fine, absolutely fine. Right, just having a check for damage. Doesn't actually look too bad. Right, I'm gonna give this a clean. I'm not going to film cleaning pieces. It's dull to do, let alone to watch, but I'll go on with that off shot. Right, so I've just been lavishing some attention on the bearings themselves. It's going to be really hard to see or to show. They're fine. I mean, I know I should replace them. I should pull them out and replace them, but they're and I'm tempted to, but frankly there's nothing wrong with them. They need a good clean, they need a good re-grease, but you know, they're fine. They're still totally functional. Now you can see where it's just been sat on one piece, because these don't bear full even load. Presumably they don't anyway. Like sat like that, it's sat on a load there, isn't it? But I've had a bit of a clean. They will get a thorough re-greasing once painted. Now, don't forget to do that, you just promised. Right, this needs a good clean, and I will get on with that. May break out my degreaser that I've used before, particularly on these cups, which I am not going to get any paint on. Right, I'll get on with the boring stuff. Right, so that's the black on. It's just a dust. I'm not trying to, you know, kid anyone. It's new, but it just needs to look better. Now, I'm going to give complete credit to Del Boy's Garage for his mechanism for painting swing arms. So on 2 axle stands with a bit of metal through it, and it just means that you can lift and flip and do one side, turn it over, do the other side, etc, etc, etc. Yeah, complete credit to Del for that. That's a brilliant idea. Don't know where he got it from. Cool, I'm going to let that dry. I'm considering whether or not to lacquer it as well. I think I will, just for protection more than anything else, rather than for beautification. With the kind of industrial look on the engine block, I don't really want to try and go for, you know, a swing arm that looks like it needs polishing, or you know, needs rubbing down and polishing. Just want it protected. Cool. Right, and one massive fast forward later, paint's on, it's hooked on, needs a bit of a Torrance-tastic session. I don't think it looks too bad. I've got one big looking mark there. I don't know what's dripped onto it, but that's, fuck it, I'll just chuck a bit of black down there, it'll be fine. But that looks so much better. It's not perfect, was never intended to be, but it's a damn sight better than was. Whew. Right, so what's on next? All sorts of bits coming through. The bit that's holding me back is the filter, which should have been here today, and the manifold boots. I do not want to put that on. Cool, that'll do me for this one. Nice short update. Loads done, but not much filming. Cheers all. I will catch you later on.